What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Buckethead's favorite nerd. Today we are looking at the Planet-X Pluto, which is their take on Megatron from the War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron game aesthetic. This is on loan to me from Extra Zero, part of Breaking the Mold podcast on the Cool Table Network, which is a good show. Lots of good guys on there, and I recommend you check it out on YouTube and Podbean and all that kind of stuff, iTunes, etc. This guy has a couple accessories. We're going to jump right into them. So of course he has to come with the fusion cannon. The barrel is extended, so you can use it for either way if you'd like in each mode. Total up to you in terms of preference. Nice red paint on there and purple paint, I think. Yes. Red got a little smudgy there, but for the most part it's done pretty well. Purple translucent handle, purple translucent end here, and it does peg into the arm with this peg. And using that peg, it'll peg into a port at the top of his arm for the signature Megatron cannon. And sword. Purple translucent blade and this gray plastic handle. Honestly, it's not very impressive looking. Little purple there on the hilt. And I think it's this gray, but we're going to talk about that a little later on. And he'll hold that with tension just fine. And lastly, a bag of spiky bits, and they go into his back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slots there, but he has enough spikes kind of on him already. I'm not going to hurt myself and potentially cause any damage to this figure, which already has some issues. So here they are. It's a gunmetal gray and then the purple translucent styling. So let's talk about the figure. The head, nice sculpt, red paint for the eyes, silver paint for the face. It's on a ball peg, limited up but some, limited down but some, a swivel, and it's mainly due to the aesthetics of the bucket that prevents the articulation. So ultimately not the biggest deal in the world. So nice silver paint up top, translucent over top of what looks like silver to me, but I could be wrong about that. On the chest, the chest has it does have a waist swivel. You just have to pull this down and then move it as you'd like, and then put it back in position. Also underneath the chest is some like sculpting stuff in there with silver paint and so forth if you're interested in that. So not too bad so far. The shoulders are super articulated and you can do anything you want with them, but you have a hinge here. Let's look. So it's a ratcheted hinge there. It's a friction hinge here. It's a friction hinge here, and then it's a ratcheted swivel here. And using all of them, I mean, you can do anything you want with this guy. You do lose some proportion, kind of stuff, but even without, you can get him pretty much as you want. It all works fine. Bicep swivel. We do have, is that paint? No, it's a different piece of plastic, but we do have translucent plastic there. We have paint here, this white over top of this purple plastic. We have this red paint on the forearm with a bicep swivel and a ratcheted elbow that gets you 90 degrees. We have some red paint here and some purple paint. That all looks really good. And then the wrist swivel, hinge, base pin, knuckle for the fingers, all of them on the same. Same for this side. For the hips, we have ratcheted universals. This is a problem that I'm finding. Like some of this stuff has a hard time kind of staying together, but we're going to continue. We're going to muscle our way through it. Ratcheted universals for the hips out to there, forward and back to there. They're not the best ratchets in the world. They feel a little cheap, honestly. And then double jointed knee that can get you 90 degrees, so that's cool. Purple translucent paint there. One thing that is nice, these bits here that are like part of the stylings of the thighs, mainly for transformation, but you can move them out of the way because otherwise it sits here and it starts to like bang up. Like if this were stuck, you would only get to here, but you can just move them out of the way and then you can get your full kind of articulation, which is a nice touch. Purple paint on the inside of the thigh as well. The joints themselves are kind of out at an angle, which helps you get this range, but it always is going to put the leg off to an angle, so like he's never going to kick straight forward. He's always going to be kicking off to the side, which is a little unfortunate, but that's a design thing. And then let's see, purple paint there, purple translucent there, red paint, purple paint, all that stuff looks great. All the paint looks fantastic. Ankles are on a hinged ball peg, so you get an ankle tilt up, an ankle tilt down. Why is that in my way? Ankle tilt a little bit down, mainly the toe hinge. I feel like this isn't right. Real quick, I consulted with the instructions, and they're supposed to be like this, which kind of lock onto the heel. I don't know. I know this is getting a little ahead of ourselves, but transformation-wise, this stuff opens, and I think it would have been better if there was a way that you could have flipped this up and inside of this pocket somehow. Honestly, I don't know if we needed this piece at all, but we'll get there. And then a rocker. The feet are another thing that's constantly kind of falling apart on me, but whatever. It's fine ultimately. I probably just don't have it right. I think it's supposed to be like this, but it ends up getting in the way. But it is on a ball peg, so you can move it around a little bit to kind of get what you need. So it all works. It's just not always the smoothest. But yeah, there he is from the back. You can articulate these if you don't want them pegged in there. There's 1,000 things you can do with them, but we're going to leave them in there because that's the way it's intended to be. So ultimately, okay, I do have to say, though, that like that light gray, it's not the most beautiful choice. Like, it looks very plain. This guy feels and looks a little cheaper than what I'm used to with Planet-X, which is a company that I've pretty much enjoyed at probably 80%, 90% of their releases. You know, they haven't been for me, but I've definitely acknowledged the quality. This one feels a little short, Size comparison wise, there he is with MMC's Megatron and a Generations Deluxe. So, you know, he's a little bit shorter than MMC's effort. You can't see because of the spiky bits, but it's not too bad. All right, let's transform him. Open up these wrist flaps here and fold the hand in and then clip them back into place. Collapse the forearm as far as you can. Maybe it's supposed to, I thought it was supposed to collapse better than that. Maybe I'm wrong. And then collapse these spikes here at the top and then just get this out of the way for now. So we'll do the same thing on this side. Open, open, fold in, close, close, collapse. That one collapsed all the way. What is going on here? I'll worry about it later. Collapse the spikes up here, get it up and out of the way. And the legs are kind of the most involved, so just get this out of the way. This piece has to come out. This piece swivels around. On the back here, open up these two pieces and then sort of accordion them down onto the side of the calf. Move the thigh to the inside and then rotate this all the way around. You want this ball peg on the heel facing up. Push that down into the flank of Megs. And then for this stuff, you want the toe, I think that is right. The heel this way, yes. And then the toe this way. You want to lock this toe here into the little claw, which is a little tricky, but not impossible. And we'll fix it later, but I think you get the point. Sorry, it was driving me nuts, so I went ahead and fixed it now. And then over here, you just flip this down so that the purple's on the outside and all this collapse. So we'll show it one more time. We're gonna get this foot out of the way. We're going to open this up. Be mindful of all these spikes. In the back, we're gonna open this up and then we're gonna accordion them down. We're gonna spin this around and then we're going to rotate this we want to see on this part that was annoying us, we want to see the ball peg and then collapse it so that it fills out the flank of Megs. Why do I keep saying Megs? Who do I think I am? And then we're going to take the heel, spin it, spin the toe. We want this toe to interlock with the claw And then we want to same problem. Fold this around and down so that you end up having something that looks like this. And then you want to collapse the shoulders so that these sit down a little bit low. Don't worry about it too much right now because we have some work that we have to do to kind of lock all this together. Just sort of get it in the general shape. So we're moving that down next to the sides. Extend these, but do nothing else. We'll get back to them. And they will eat you alive if you're not paying attention. Just extend them all the way up. They get locked underneath this piece here. Once this is open, flip out these bits here. And on this side, what we're gonna do is attach the gun flip out this piece, peg that into the gun, and then flip out. God, it's really in there, right? This piece. And these will tab into there as you come back down, and that's how you know that you have those legs lined upright. And if you need to adjust the arms to do so, feel free. And it's just a matter of how you have the knees and such, so just sort it out. On the underside, take his chest, get these out of the way. And you're gonna peg in there and there to there and there. I don't know if you can see that, but you'll see it in person. And then adjust the thrusters kind of accordingly. And now the final touches. So take this, do exactly as I say. Turn over, 180, turn up, 180. And then adjust this armature here in a way that allows you to get this down in and peg into the side of the shoulder. Same on this side. Turn over 180, turn up 180, adjust the armature as needed as you come down to peg into the side of the shoulder. And then you want to take your sword and there's a port right there that your sword will plug into. And I guess you can only have it up and down, but that's where the sword goes. I'll clean it up, we'll take a look at it. So there it is for the most part. It's not 100% right, but it's pretty close. It's a challenging transformation, and it's a lot easier to go from here to robot mode. There it is next to Tiger Tracks. I'm taking it easy on him today. Kind of want you guys to get all worked up about poor old Tiger Tracks. But yeah, I mean, it looks wicked, you know? It looks cool and menacing, imposing. You can have, you know, your barrel however you'd like. But it's just like, it's just not the best. And like, it just isn't as kind of clean and pretty as you would kind of like it to be. There's some interesting stuff here transformation wise. It's just like there's so much stuff that kind of has to be lined up just right for it to really pay off. And I don't know, I guess it ultimately is worth it because I think this is pretty cool. It's just not, you know, it's just such an abstract thing. But I mean, the colors and stuff come through beautifully. You know, in the translucent purple here looks better without the, you know, the flat gray, with so much of the flat gray in a hand. But I think it's fine. You know, I mean, it'll do the part. It's just not the most impressive thing and cleanest thing that I've ever seen. Final thoughts wise, let's see. I think that this gray is too plain, too nondescript. Doesn't help the figure pop at all. A metallic fleck gray would have probably been much better. The ankles are on hinged ball pegs, which rarely works right. This being no exception. It really gets in the way, and like, it's just not fun, and it's not stable. I mean, it'll stand, of course, but it's just like, it's hard to get him balanced and keep him balanced, and it's just a pain. In that regard. You got this piece here and the back piece that I feel like constantly come open as you manipulate the figure. The transformation is anything but intuitive, and the instructions suck, even though I must admit there are some interesting things that are done in it. The hardware doesn't seem appropriate, the ratchets seem weak, and it's a big bulky figure, so it has a lot of weight to support, and the materials don't feel great. So there's a lot of issues that I take with this figure. Now to come up with some positives. Let's see, it doesn't dance. I wonder if Candy Crush is still on here. Doesn't juggle. Think. It doesn't spontaneously combust. I do like the sculpt. I think it looks pretty accurate to the game. I do like the way that the alt mode looks. The metallic purple and the red paint are beautiful. I love the fusion cannon, and the articulation pretty much works. So there's some good stuff going on here too, just not enough for me to give this a recommend. And I usually recommend Planet-X stuff, but this one is not their best. It might be their worst. I'd have to go back through and look at all the ones I've looked at, but it's certainly not their best, which is a bummer, because I think they have a pretty good record, and I think they make a pretty good product. I think they're one of the most consistent third-party companies out there. But yeah, can't win them all, I suppose. Thanks again to Extra Zero, and thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.